The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 25th May 2021. Digestive. Me. Yesterday, you explained that the heart is not the producer of blood or the origin or destination of the biological network as we sometimes think from the philosophical or emotional, but is part of a harmonic mechanism in which its function is basically the distribution and impulse of said blood through the beat, for a correct give and take. I am. That's right. Me. You said that blood is the vehicle of all the necessary resources of the body, of what generates energy, and that it comes from three main sites, the bone marrow, lungs, and intestines. I am. Me. So I have two doubts. How exactly do those nutrients get into our body, and how do they produce energy? I am. Excellent. Let's go step by step to understand the apparatus that allows this, the digestive system. Me. The one I've practically heard the most in life because everyone talks about what we eat. I am. But as much as we talk about that, we probably don't even come close to the basics of understanding it. The digestive system is a factory for energy production, assembly, and disassembly of products, using toxic products very harmful but necessary for development, and is probably the system with the largest number of microbes that live in harmony with us, in symbiosis. It is the main producer, generator of all the products that keep the body alive. Me. Wow. So it's the fundamental system since the beginning of time. I am. That's right. Because the first thing an atom does in existence is look for energy, consume it, save it, and in the case of an organism, share it for better functioning. This system is precisely the one that consumes, saves, and produces to share with the rest of the organism. It has become more complex throughout evolution, in different ways according to the species, like all biological systems. However, we are here above all to know the human. So, back to basics. Everything is looking for energy. But where do you get your energy from? Me. Well, if energy is vibration and it is produced by frequency waves and polarities, then it will have to be found in the interaction between the positive and negative. I am. That's right. Imagine energy as the force of the vibrating strings that make magnetism possible, that join the positive and negative ends. If these two polarities join and contract, energy reserves will be generated, stability. But if you need action, movement, and change, you must separate this polarity, stretching this rope until it breaks, which, like an elastic, when cut, will release an enormous tension that you will call energy, that is, workforce, movement. Me. All energy is produced then from the separation or rupture of an atomic structure, isn't it? I am. Yes. It's the elasticity that occurs in the waves between electrons and protons. As we always say, the universe seeks stability and energy saving, but to improve its saving capacity, it is forced to evolve, to develop better forms, because environments are changing, and the chaos of the environment forces atoms to adapt, which modifies their composition and order, generating new structures. At that moment of rearrangement, the atoms lose energy, but at the same time, this means that the molecular set or organism receives energy. That is, it obtains an extra force, an impulse that moves it. Me. So the energy we talk about that mobilizes us, that drives us to do what we do, comes from the division of molecules and the release of energy accumulated in the bonds of atoms. I am. That's right. Now let's go to the beginning. The main source of energy in a developing world was photonic energy from the sun and chemicals from marine volcanoes. The high vibration of the volcanic components that are released by pressure and the movement of photons in the environment allowed electrons to vibrate much faster than normal in that hostile environment, which translates as heat. Heat, fire, allows the fusion or division of chemical elements, which generates transformations, alchemy, chemical reactions, in which that energy is released. The first existing cells, due to these reactions, in a fusion of sugars and minerals, began to absorb this energy released in the environment, which allowed them to move and grow. Over time, these cells developed the ability to perform this division and extraction of energy by themselves, capturing chemical elements from the environment and processing them inside in a kind of chain work in which each of the internal chemical compounds of the cell cut parts and glued others to obtain a product that generated energy or accumulation of it, releasing what was left over. Me. The image I have is as if a tree were a molecule and a family of several people were those components. I am. Enzymes. Individuals will be enzymes. Me. What is an enzyme? I am. From the Greek en and zyme, meaning inner fermentation, to which ferment comes from the Latin herbire, allowing to the fact that fire unites things, produces reactions. Enzymes are chemical compounds that enable chemical reactions in other foreign compounds. Me. Okay, so these little enzyme people take the tree and, because winter comes, they decide to cut it down. Some of those people will collect their fruits to make sweets and reserves. Another little person will take the seeds to make crops to create more trees. Another person will cut off all the leaves to feed the animals. Another person will cut the branches to have a reserve of firewood for the fireplace, and another person will cut the trunk to obtain wood to reinforce the roof of the house. Thus, what was once a single thing, a tree, became part of many more things, generating energy for the winter. I am. All right, it is understood. Now, the greater the being, the more complex the energy assimilation system becomes. This divides two major kingdoms, the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. Me. What are they? I am. They describe the development, shape, and content of a cell. The prokaryotes, pro, before, karyon, nut, tes, agent, are cells of bacteria in which a thin membrane separates the external from a dissolved content where the DNA is ordered in a single long coiled chain without having a nucleus. In contrast, eukaryotes, new, karyon, nut, tes, agent, have nucleus, where there are several chromosomes of DNA, and organelles, that is, small internal structures that perform various functions, all floating in the cytoplasm, such as the mitochondria, the endoplasmic reticulum, and the Golgi apparatus. Mitochondria, myth, filament, thread, chondros, grain. Here is one of the fundamental to understand, because it is responsible for the respiration of the cell. Me. Do cells breathe? I am. They breathe and eat. Remember that before you were what you were a single-celled organism. All eukaryotic beings, animals, plants, fungi, need to generate energy in their cells, and the mitochondria is responsible for this in a process known as Krebs cycle, in honor of its discoverer in the 1930s, or also citric acid cycle. In this circuit, certain enzymes are dedicated to taking carbon molecules and making various cuts at different times of the process to generate new energy-storing molecules. ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which transports energy for all cell functions, and GTP, guanosine triphosphate, messenger that signals to proteins what chemical functions to perform. Me. Ugh, it gets complicated. I am. Take the example of the tree. The house is the cell, and the family is the mitochondria. Imagine that they cut down the tree, and the strongest enzymes in the family chop it into parts. Then the family will sit in a circle around the tree, and each one will take out a part of it, the fruits, leaves, branches, seeds, bark, processing it, passing the parts between them, storing everything according to their function in different parts of the house, while the seeds will be used to create more equal trees for the following years. This is what you call the Krebs cycle. It is a circular path that humans make at each change of season of the year with fields and production. Only in cells, it happens in a matter of thousandths of seconds. Me. Sure, I understand. In other words, this is how energy is obtained. They are electrical pulses of discharges generated in the division or union of molecules in the rupture of carbon atoms. I am. The main source of energy is acetyl-CoA, which is obtained from the oxidation of carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and sugars. Me. Oh, that's why we need to breathe oxygen. I am. That's right. In large quantities to be able to oxidize all these elements. And now the question would be, where do you get all these carbs, lipids, proteins, and sugars? Me. Eating. I am. Exactly. All these acids, amino acids, proteins, glucose, carbohydrates, lipids, all are diversified and dispersed in nature in the chemical composition of the animal, mineral, and vegetable kingdom. In order to generate energy in the body, you need to consume it from the external world. But you can't pass glucose from an apple into the cell by putting the whole apple on your skin and squeezing. You need to separate glucose from many other things until it is only alone, separately from all the fibers and other components needed for other parts of the body or parts that will not be needed and will have to be discarded. And this is where the digestive system comes in. Me. Wow, it's fascinating. All this to understand why to eat and drink. I am. Digestive comes from the words die, separate, divide, and gerere, to carry out, generate. So digesting is the act of separating things. Me. Just like when we want to digest information that seemed a lot to us, and you have to process it little by little, dividing it into parts to assimilate it. Like everything we're talking about here. I am. Yes, the digestive system incorporates various useful parts that will be responsible for fragmenting everything to its minimum expression, with the aim of reaching the bottom of the atoms and being able to harvest the energy they keep inside. It is as if the real objective you have is to extract the nut from its shell, and for this you will cut the branches, remove the leaves, take the fruit, peel the carcass until you find the layer that covers the seed, where you find the shell that you must break to find the seed, which when splitting in two you'll find the nutrients you're looking for. And for this you must first take a bite. Me. The mouth. I am. The lips are the first sensitive contact that will tell us if the material is cold, hot, warm, and if it is able to enter the mouth or not. The tongue, with the sense of taste, will notify the rest of the system of what materials we are talking about, so that the organism prepares to obtain specifically what this product will deliver to me. Teeth are the first step of division. Its cutting and crushing functions form a food bolus. This bolus, from the Greek bole, ball that is thrown, will go through a whole separation system that will allow the organism to assimilate the molecules, something called metabolism, meta, later, through, bole, launched. That is to say that the metabolism of a living being is the ability it has to launch the product through a process of division. Me. Oh, I just got to understand what they mean as low or high metabolism. Little or much capacity to divide the products. I am. Yes. You can understand here that the problems in the teeth will be related to your inability to manage or analyze something in your life, not being able to digest it, process it well. See dental biodecoding. From here, the salivary glands will be responsible for improving the flow of the bolus to the stomach through the pharynx, shared with the respiratory tract, and from there to the esophagus, which will cross behind the heart and lungs until it reaches the mouth of the stomach. Within it occurs one of the hardest actions of the physical body, chemical decomposition. The stomach is a sac of strong tissues containing corrosive acids that can burn and break down organic compounds. These compounds are produced by the gallbladder, liver, and pancreas, all three attached to the duodenum, from where these gastric acids enter the stomach and where food will end up passing into the small intestine, converted into chyme, a pasty mass. The liver is responsible for generating bile, the acid that will allow, together with pancreatic juices, to dissolve food. And this bile is stored in the vesicular sac until the necessary moment of stomach digestion. Once the chyme is ready, it slides down the duodenum into the jejunum, both being the entrance to the small intestine, about 7 meters of coiled tissue where the chyme will be driven by a long journey through which a constant row of villi will caress this paste, absorbing all the nutrients, almost like an extensive mechanical belt where millions of products slide, while millions of workers next to it select the good products, letting the bad ones pass. Thus, carbohydrates, sugars, lipids, proteins are captured by the small intestine, ending their journey in the last piece of it called the ileum, connected to the large intestine or colon. In this part, all liquids finish being absorbed, compacting the waste that the small intestine selected as unnecessary and forming the fecal bolus, which will eventually be excreted by the anus. Me. What a trip. I am. And the rest you already know. The capillaries of the blood system take these nutrients, join them with oxygen, produce the reaction that gives rise to acetyl-CoA, which will be the basis for enzymes to split carbon atoms and generate ATP, energy. Me. And so I can move. I am. That's how you can live. As you can see, matter is not something different from the spiritual world, but in its complexity, it only found different mechanisms to live on the same as souls and spirits. In the infinite manifesting capacity of the universal mind, energy only found various ways to continue creating and expanding. The digestive system is the echo of the system of creation. It is the echo of the designs of the essence, manifesting the personalities. It is the path of life. Me, the initiatory path. I am, where you enter as a whole, and you go a long way to discover the essence that you were, the energy that lives in you. Me. I won't ever watch a meal the same way I did before. To think that every day I walk an initiatory path to be what I truly am in every breakfast, every lunch, every dinner. I am. You are what you eat. Me. And if I am one of those foods making my initiatory path towards the essence, then the universe, the cosmos, feeds on me, and therefore the universe is me. I am. You got it. In every step you take, discerning what you are, you nourish the universe with your energy, and you stop being cosmic food to become part of the cosmos. Me. In me, millions of beings make their way to the essence. I am. So today you can say this. Me. I am the channel of beings. I am. I am divine food, essence of the cosmic body. Me. I am the universe.